Where are we, Yen? Is it important? We're together, you and me. Birds, either greenfinches or thrushes, were singing. It smelled of grass, herbs and flowers. And apples. Where's Ciri? She's gone away. She changed her position, gently freeing her arm from under his head, and lay down beside him on the grass so that she could look in his eyes. She looked at him voraciously, as though she wanted to feast her eyes on the sight, as though she wanted to eat him up with her eyes and store it away, for the whole of eternity. He looked at her too, and longing choked him. We were with Ciri in a boat, he recalled, on a lake, then on a river with a strong current, in the fog. Her fingers found his hand, and squeezed it strongly. Lie still, my darling, lie still. I'm beside you. It doesn't matter what happened. It doesn't matter where we were. Now I'm beside you, and I'll never leave you. Never. I love you, Yen. I know. All the same, he sighed. I'd like to know where we are. Me too, said Yennefer, quietly, and not right away. While passing through White Orchard, Geralt was approached by a man who introduced himself as Vernon Verrier. He told the Witcher about how his family crypt had been haunted by ghosts for generations, and how another Witcher, Colgrim, had tried and failed to clear the crypt of spectres in years gone past. Unfortunately, he explained, he couldn't pay Geralt for clearing the crypt, but would let Geralt take anything he found, including what might still be possessed by the corpse of the fallen Witcher Colgrim. He couldn't explain any more, and handed Geralt an interrogation report that would, as he put it, make the situation clearer. Suspect, Colgrim, Witcher of the Viper School. The Witcher Colgrim stands accused of kidnapping Viti, son of Paul, a beekeeper residing in White Orchard. Suspect was detained pending trial. Upon detention, he was searched, and a diagram for the forging of a steel sword was found on his person. It's suspected this sword was used to intimidate or possibly kill the kidnapped child. It's likewise suspected that the accused possesses other such diagrams for the forging of death-dealing implements, though none have been found to date. Sir Ignatius has requested the Witcher undergo preliminary interrogation with the application of torture. This will take place once a torturer with the proper qualifications has been found. Addendum. It was later discovered drowners were responsible for the boy's disappearance. Unfortunately, Colgrim died before this information reached the investigators. But rather than face the baronet's judgment, he chose trial by ordeal. Sir Ignatius Verrier agreed and ordered he cleanse the Verriers' family crypt of spectres. Colgrim never emerged from said crypt. It is highly likely the motley wraiths, spectres and evil powers residing therein proved too much for him. So, Geralt set off with the prospect of obtaining some swords designed at the School of the Viper. Okay, so we're gonna go and investigate this crypt. I just need to have a little chat with Bram, and then we'll head off. Okay, so we need to head over to this family crypt of the Verrier family, where a previous Witcher perished, so we could be in for a bit of a tough fight. I'm sorry. So this should really help Geralt hit a little bit harder if we can pick up some new swords. careful with roach and bridges.
Giddy up.
So we're just going to take care of these drowners. As always, we need to use a bit of fire.
Well, how long you gonna make me wait?
Mr. Drowner, hello. Okay, let's see what these guys were protecting. They killed someone by the waterside. Looks like a Nilfgaardian soldier. A Temerian lily key. He's perhaps been burying some treasure down here. So, we'll just have a little read of this document. So the blood-soaked military orders read, "To whom it may concern, by order of the Legion Commander, the men bearing this missive are to be escorted north to the border post near Oxenfurt, where they'll find a Redanian division waiting for them. As noble-born Temerians, they're under special protection and not a hair on their heads is to be harmed. Everything they carry is their own private property and is to remain in their possession. Any failure to heed this order will be punished in an accelerated military tribunal." From Randall Wittenberg. So he was worried that the soldiers were going to pillage all the goods from these Temerian captives. So we can go and see what happened to them. Obviously some of them perished here. Some of them, it seems, were escorted near to somewhere nearby. This looks like it's right by this family crypt. So this is the hut. Plenty of hides there. Hides are good for leather crafting. So what happened here? So it's like we've got a cellar. And this looks like is that all the valuables that the Temerians had. An armoured gambeson. and a scribbled document. Let's see what this says. Himi, I'm not sure how you'd say that. No wonder we're losing this war, with cowardly cunts for soldiers. All it took were a few arrows and a wallop of the mace for seasoning. And that was that. Battle's over, and the whole convoy was ours for the picking. Maybe they were having such a hard time of it because of all that vodka they were carrying. Our brave warriors must have taken a sip from time to time, with obvious results. When you see in double, it's damn hard to hit your target. Take everything we gathered to the cubby, then fence it as quick as you can. Except that showy parade shite, you'll have to bury or burn that. I reckon someone might recognise the insignia, and then there'd be trouble. Caius. Okay, so maybe it was Temerian soldiers who captured the goods. Okay, so that armoured gambeson appears to be something from the more robes mod that I was completely unaware of. That's a really nice surprise. It's quite high level. I might wear it for a bit. I'm not bothered about stuff being a bit over leveled. Yeah, that's really awesome. That's like a custom piece of armor. I thought that I had to just buy the robe stuff. From a vendor, but that's just dropped as part of a quest. That is awesome. So my memory is failing me as to which way this goes. It's just over here, the crypt. So Roach isn't too fond of wraiths, or any monster in fact, so we won't drive Roach all the way in when it could be dangerous. So we seem like we're in a reasonably safe place here, so as we are about to possibly come up against some sort of wraith, we could just do with preparing a little bit here. So we'll just meditate, and we'll make sure we're oiled up. Okay, so we meditated, we've applied our spectre oil. We can already see a dead body, so we'll be cautious going in here. Again, Nilfgaardian. There's a Nilfgaardian has
should draw from it.
Wandered in here and died. Yeah, that's a Nilfgaardian. Oh, there's loads of Celandine in here. If you didn't want to buy any, this would be your place. Got a place of power. Here he is. So we need to make sure we're using Erden. So we need to use Erden to make the Wraith to a material creature. Seems like he's retreated though. So that we're going to have to go into the depths. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean that. My main problem, right, is because I played The Witcher 2 before this in preparation. It's messed up my default button press. So I apologise for pressing circle to interact from time to time. Let's see what's in this crypt. I don't have any cat potion yet, so we could fight with the torch. But there are some candles down here. It's going to be seriously dark though. Oh, the Quen shield, of course. This should provide us with some light. So awesome, man. If this goes out, then we're going to be left in the dark.
How long you gonna make me wait?
It looks like the oil did the trick there. Not too bad, not too bad. I'll maybe bump my enemy scaling up a little bit more now. One thing I definitely have a problem with in these caves is feeling the need to light every single torch in here. So let's have a search around for any valuables in here, because we're not getting paid by Vernon Verrier for doing this quest, so we need to... Any reward we're getting we're going to find in here, and potentially the remains of the Witch of Colgrim. Okay, I don't know if that's supposed to be Colgrim. No, that looks like a witch hunter, doesn't it? Yeah, it does look like a witch hunter, doesn't it? Looks like we've got the remains here. Got another sort of witch hunter looking guy, or just someone who was pillaging, it seems. And this looks like the remains of Colgrim. Letter from Witcher Colgrim of the Viper School to Ivar Evileye, Master of the Viper School. I've now found all the legendary diagrams once belonging to our order. Certain complications have arisen, however. On my way back to our keep, I stopped to rest the night in a village in the Temerian borderlands. The blasted peasants decided to make me into their scapegoat and accuse me of kidnapping some beekeeper's brat. They took me into the local lordling's castle for interrogation, during which they found and confiscated one of the diagrams, but don't fear, I'll get it back. They didn't find the others. I've invoked Temerian common law and demanded a trial by ordeal. Instead of submitting to the whims of this baronet, my request was granted, and tomorrow I'm to cleanse the baronet's family crypt of wraiths. I expect this will prove little trouble. Perhaps I'll already have returned to our keep by the time you receive this letter. Like the furnaces, we'll have some forging to do. Colgrim. Well, unfortunately for Colgrim, he never made it back. Felled by wraith. I mean, maybe there were several wraiths here when he arrived. Perhaps he did kill a few of the wraiths, but there were more than he expected. Maybe he did most of the work for us, but he is no more. So we've got some nice new swords now.
Place of power. Should draw from it.
Okay, so the last thing we're going to do to try and earn a bit of money, gather some resources, is we're going to go and take on this contract that we found on the notice board in White Orchard.
Go, go.
The plague!
Contract, Devil by the Well. Good folk, I know there's a war on, and every man's got trouble enough of his own, but perhaps there's one of you who could help a father in need. You all surely know the well in the ruined village, and the devil that guards it with a jealous fury. And if you don't know, well, come ask and I'll tell you all about it. Whoever drives that monster away from the well will get a fat purse full of gold. Just don't tarry, for it's an urgent matter. Odalin. So this is the house here, the contract giver.
Not so fast, Roach.
Let's see what he has to say.
Greetings, good man. Having trouble with your well? That's what I read.
Aye. 'Tis haunted. Has been for a good 20 years.
20? So why'd you put out a notice just now?
'Cause earlier on we drew our water from the river. But so many corpses floating in it after the battle it's turned noxious. My daughter Mandy drank half a pitcher. Fell dreadful ill, can't keep nothing down. She grows worse by the day. Herbalist claims you fight a fever with drink. And not beer nor cider, but water. Clear, pure water. And where am I to get that if not from the well? But first, the ghost's got to be driven away. And it don't let any man near.
What is this ghost like?
This ghost. Describe it for me.
Well, it's awful frightening. Awful.
I meant, what does it look like?
It looks like a woman, but fresh from the grave. Wears a dirty dress, all rags, its skin flaking off its bones, and it howls like it's suffering.
Some wraith. Or maybe an alp.
If you don't wallop it, Master, if you don't take care of it, that is, it'll come kill me daughter.
Okay, let's talk about the coin.
I feel for you, but this is my job, so let's talk about my pay.
Something not right with the coin.
Don't know why they made this such a paltry reward. Geralt would never accept a contract for this little.
If you could drop your price a bit, I'm sure we'd agree.
Okay, fine. Let's just go the base
That
rate.
settles it then.
Alright, I'll help you, sir.
Fine, I'll help. Where's this well?
In Havel, a settlement on the heights. It's abandoned now. No one ventures there on account of the ghost being about. Drive it off, please.
Okay. So, he does actually have some valuables in here that we don't get in trouble for taking. Particularly in this chest here. There's an emerald in there. Sorry, Odalon. Oh, another armoured canvassing. Okay, so we did actually hear the two ladies by the river talking about this earlier, about how it was dangerous to drink the water because of all the corpses that have infected it, which is why they haven't tried to deal with this problem earlier. But we don't quite know what it is, because people often get creatures wrong, so we can't prepare too early in terms of potions and oils. We need to go and assess the situation. So they definitely feel a stronger need now that they can't drink their normal water. They need to go and get water from this well. And it is very urgent for our quest giver because his daughter's sick. So here's the abandoned village. There's the wraith.
The infamous well. A moon wraith. Wonder what it's doing here. Strange, she's not attacking. Whoa, got too close.
Now she's attacking. Duplicating.
Something's keeping her here.
Okay, so it's a noon wraith.
Noon Wraith won't stray too far from the well. Bodies dried to a crisp. Signs of burns. Noon Wraith did this.
Okay, so we need to investigate this whole area because there were probably quite a lot of people living here. A lot of sellable junk. There's something over here. Okay, we've got no clues in this hut here. Let's have a look over here. So we're going to need to somehow tether the noon wraith. Lots of valuable items we can sell. Nothing in that one either. Nothing in that hut either. Maybe this is the largest one. Maybe there'll be something in here. It's the only thing I can't really cut out is the constant looting. This place has been abandoned for a long time. I mean, a tree has grown through the floorboards. Small chest. Black magic doll, and this looks like some sort of diary.
A journal. Might be useful.
Okay, so we've picked up this diary. We know that we're dealing with a noon wraith, so we could do with just having a little catch up of what we're dealing with here. The Yellow Diary, 27th of the 3rd, 1250. It's happened. Volker sent a petition of our grievances against the Lord to the court at Vizima. Listed all the harm he's done us. How he killed Johann for not taking off his cap quick enough. How he trampled our fields when drunk with nary a thought of repayment. How he barged in during Peter's wedding and demanded his right of the first night. Now we finally got what we begged Melitele for in our prayers for so long. The judge recognised our grievances and waived all bonds and duties to the Lord. We can finally strike out on our own. At last, we can live as free men. Just under 2 months, just over a month later. The first day of our freedom. Havel's not much of a village yet, but to my mind it's better than the most fantastic palace. Volker fumed our home with hazel wood smoke to drive out evil, buried a marten under the gate to make sure no thieves cross our threshold, and then he gave me a bracelet, loveliest I've ever seen. Mother said it's foolish to spend so much on a bauble when we haven't ploughs nor hoes, and that we ought return it to the merchant over my dead body. I'll never take it off. It'll always be there to remind me of Volker, of how happy we were that day. 11 days later. They say the Lord is coming to see us, that he wants to make a deal, to beg us to return to the village. They say he's calmed since his son died, that he's not as quick to anger about small slights. Well, we'll see. One way or another, I've no intention to move 1 inch from here. So Noonwraiths first. Despite what's commonly thought, peasants do not interrupt their labours at midday to get out of the sun. They do so to avoid noon wraiths. On particularly searing summer days, when the sun reaches its zenith, wraiths will at times appear, resembling sun-scorched women dressed in long, white robes. These are noon wraiths, the spirits of young women and girls who died violent deaths right before their weddings. Driven mad with pain or anger, they wander the fields, searching for their unfaithful lovers or backstabbing rivals. Though they'll kill anyone who doesn't get out of their way in time. They're often held in this world by some object of intense emotional significance. That's why, if one ever finds a wedding ring or torn veil in the middle of a field, one should not pick it up, but instead back away as quickly as possible. The devil by the well. The residents of White Orchard had suffered more than their fair share of misfortunes. Passing armies had trampled their spring planting, a griffin had begun abducting their livestock, and the rotten icing on this painful cake, a noon wraith haunted a nearby well. No wonder the locals called this final evil a devil. The Witcher could sense something bound her to this place, and that in order to send her off to the ethereal realms, he would first need to learn her secret. Once that was done, he'd have to prepare for a battle, and a noon wraith is a demanding opponent. She can disorient her victim by blinding him and creating mirror images of herself. These copies slowly suck their victim's life energy, while their mistress remains untouchable. In order to defeat her, the Witcher could not rely on his silver sword alone. The Erden sign would also be needed to trap her and force her to take on material form. We've learned a little bit about what was going on here. We learned that noon wraiths have like an object that ties them to our plane, and you need to kind of find that object, that tether that binds them here. We heard Claire mention a bracelet in her diary about how she was never going to take it off, about how it was a precious gift. So everything seemed alright from her diary entry. All that we knew was that the Lord was coming to visit them.
A man, stabbed with a knife, died on the spot. Animals fed on his body, picked his skeleton clean. More bloodstains over there. But it's not his blood.
So it seems like this could be Volker. Perhaps the Lord or someone who served him.
Bloodstains, barely visible. Someone was dragged this way. Someone who was still alive.
So it seems like all of this happened 20 to 25 years ago, given the dates in the diary, and that we're in the 1270s now. And it was in the 1250s when this happened.
Palm prints in blood. Small hands. A woman's. Someone dragged her out. She was wounded. Fought for her life. No body in sight, but might still find some tracks. Under the right conditions, bloodstains can remain visible for decades. Another print by the well.
So it seems like Volker was killed and then Claire was dragged, wounded but alive, or possibly with Volker's blood on her hands or on her person. So we've got a rope here.
Bloodstains. Almost faded. But the line's taut. Something's not right. A corpse, hanged by the bucket rope. Woman the journal belonged to. Must be. Wide pelvis, small jaw. A woman. Around 30, judging by the teeth. Left arm's missing. Need to cremate the remains. Gotta find the object that binds her to this place before I do, though. Was she wearing the bracelet from her husband? Might be why her arm fell off. Gotta jump down there. Hope I don't break my legs.
Well, In we go, Geralt. How big of a drop is it? There's something at the bottom of the plunge pool. There's the bracelet. There's a small chest down here as well.
Lucky not to come up empty-handed. A bracelet with an inscription. To Claire, from Volker. Bracelet must have belonged to the woman in the well. Lovely craftsmanship, but I'll have to burn it with the body to get rid of the Noon Wraith for good. Better do it near the well.
Okay, so we're going to have to find a way out. We need to destroy the tether. This bracelet that binds the Noon Wraith to our plane. If I'm remembering correctly, I think there's a chest down here. Ha. Very nice. We've got quite a few decoctions, recipes for decoctions now. Be a bit easier to see underwater once we get the killer whale potion crafted. I don't think I've got the recipe for it just yet though. Okay.
Need to prepare for this fight. Brew some wraith oil. Drink some potions.
Okay, so this seems like a good spot to prepare this abandoned hut. Let's see if there were any items left here, and then we'll prepare to fight the Noon Wraith. There's another one. Fisherman's hut. Let's meditate here. This seems like a reasonably safe area. So we need to apply some Spectre oil, and I'm going to use Tawny Owl to help us regenerate our stamina so we can keep using Erden to keep the Noon Wraith in physical form. Alright, so we've got our Spectre oil, we've got Tawny Owl which will last for 10 minutes. We don't have any moon dust, I haven't got that yet. We've not even got the diagram for that, but what moon dust is really helpful for, it stops wraiths from transforming, it stops creatures from transforming. So if we were to use the moon dust bomb on a Noon Wraith, it's really helpful, particularly against high level Noon Wraiths, because it stops them from transforming and regenerating their health. High level Noon Wraiths are kind of impossible to kill because they have every third of their health you take away, it triggers their transformation, where they drain some life force from you to regenerate their health. So if you run into high level Noon Wraiths, they just keep regenerating their health over and over again. So now we have to burn the bracelet.
And bracelet. Igni. I think it worked.
I'm sorry, Claire, but you have to leave this world.
Come on, come closer.
Okay, it's really useful to have the crossbow for this. Got caught then. Damn it. Oh.
She's gone. For good.
Okay, let's pick up our trophy and head back. There's a very sad story of Claire and Volko. Okay, Roach. Let's head back and get our reward.
Come on, Roach.
God's eye above, Emperor far away.
So it's something to wonder about why the Lord was so kind of reckless and vengeful against the spitting. My God. Okay. The well's safe now, friend.
Job done. The well was haunted by the ghost of a woman who was killed there. I drove it away.
I just hope every unburied wretch don't start haunting us. Well, that battlefield's gonna cause us a heap of trouble.
If they do, you know who to contact. Meanwhile, Claire, Volker, names ring a bell?
I don't know him. Though I did hear our herbalist Tamira mention a Claire once. Same one, maybe? Your reward, Master Witcher. The gold I'd hid away for Mandy's dowry. Without you, she'd never have lived to wed. Now, let's hope for it, at least.
Okay, so I'm just gonna promise I'm not gonna make a habit of turning away coin, because on principle, you know, Geralt should take the coin. However, I know that what we get for rejecting the coin is worth more than the 20 orens, because it's like an amethyst or something, and that's worth like 70 or so. So I'm just going to do the... this is like a retcon kind of decision, I know. I won't do this in the future, but because I want to buy the Temerian armor, I need as much money as I can scrounge. So Keep the coin for your daughter.
At this point, doubt I'll ever marry. You keep the coin for Mandy, her wedding. Raise a toast to my health then.
Thank you, Master Witcher. Them's warm words. You've a good heart. But I can't let you go empty-handed. Take this, at least. For luck.
Yes, an amethyst, which will be very valuable. Okay, so that's pretty much all of the quests we can kind of further our progress with, earn some money. All we need to do now is we need to craft ourselves some new gear. We need to get rid of this sweaty, smelly armor. We need to get ourselves some nice, fresh swords. And the only other thing we need to do... Where did Roach go? Damn it, Roach. Roach. You disobedient horse. We need to go see Tamira, of course, because we need to make a decision about Lena and whether we're going to give her the swallow potion. Right, now that Roach has materialised, we can go and see Tamira, and like Odilon said, she perhaps knew something about Claire and Volker, which I find a little bit hard to believe just because it happened 20 years ago, and Tamira wasn't the oldest. So I think that's Tamira's hut, just over past the hills. So this isn't an easy decision to make for Geralt. I think ultimately Geralt wouldn't want to meddle, but really this is a choice between peaceful death or an unlikely chance of living with the chance of excruciating death. And I suppose it would depend on a person's age. Perhaps if this was for someone who was a bit older, who'd already lived a full life, and you were to ask them, they might just consider a peaceful death better than awful suffering. But because Lena is so young, I feel like her having a chance at living would be worth it. She's only young. I think she was only maybe 17, 18. So I think any chance of living is better than certain death. So I think we're going to decide to give Lena the swallow potion. We're back, Tamira.
Yes?
So, just before we give her the potion, let's just learn a little bit about her.
Tell me something about yourself. What's your story?
A sad one. Do you know the Temple of Melitele in Alanda?
Of course.
Do I know it? Can't remember how many times I've been there, how many times Mother Neneka stitched me up.
We must have missed each other. I started to become a healer under Mother Neneka. I was but 18 when they took me in. An age at which teachings interest one far less than love. There was a boy, Goslav. He'd bare his chest to work. The novices couldn't keep their eyes off him, tripped over their own feet, dropped things. I left the temple for him. We passed a lovely summer together, and then he left. Neneke refused to take me back. My parents uttered not a word. Gave me a travel cloak and a small coin pouch. I struggled long to find a place where I'd feel safe, needed, until I finally arrived here. End of story.
So, if she knows Claire, then that puts her around 40 years old, right?
Listen, ever heard of a woman named Claire? Lived around here?
Heard of her? A mild way to put it. Claire was a friend. The only person dear to me in all of White Orchard. Until her husband, Volker, quarreled with the lord of the manor. He then gathered the family, moved out into the woods to start a new settlement. The lord and his retinue rode there to convince them to return. They were to be civil. No forcing, no bloodshed. But you saw. Word is Claire said something about the lord's son, Florian. Something that made the lord furious. But who knows the truth?
Lots of misfortune for such a small village.
'Tis so in every village. Even the smallest. You need only ask. But let's not end on a teary note. Here, a bit of solace.
Thank you, Tamira. Oh, Lena's up and about all of a sudden. Okay, so we've got a bunch of crafting ingredients. They'll be very useful. Lots of crafting ingredients.
Yes?
Okay. Lots of crafting ingredients. Okay, so got some good news. I've got a potion for Lena.
Got a potion for Lena. Swallow.
First sign of spring. Symbol of rebirth. Fitting as names go.
We'll see. Like I said, could harm her. Deeply. Works on me immediately. But I have a faster metabolism. Effects won't appear in her case for a few days.
Why'd you choose this in the end?
Decided it was better than doing nothing.
I like you, Witcher. Here. A small gift. For giving a damn.
Yeah, I suppose Tamira is perhaps just odder than her character model looks. Okay, so I need to now go and get some new swords and some new armor.
Move it! Come on, Roach.
After spending some time in White Orchard, so many of the stories I found there were so similar to my own. Two lovers who'd been torn apart and were never the same again afterwards. Tamira and Goslav's short-lived romance. Claire and Volker murdered by a bitter lord. Mislav and Florian victims of prejudice. Even the two royal griffins had their peace destroyed by Nilfgaardian law and order. And then there's me and Yennefer. I started to think I'd never find my Yen after all.